the importance of this meeting, I'm pleased to bring in the Deputy Assistant to the President. He's also the Senior Director for Counterterrorism, Sebastian Gorka. Good to have you, sir. Welcome into Bianca Across the Nation.
Great to be back. It's been too long.
Yes, it has, my friend. All right, I want to set the table for people. President Trump meeting with Petro is optimistic, but there's a lot of drugs, and there has to be some changes because the words Petro was using before, let's say, the capture of Nicolas Maduro were really anti-administration, challenging him on deportations, attacking him on Israel and Gaza, the boat strikes. So, Seb, the tensions were high walking in already.
They were for one side of the equation, not for us, because we've sent a very clear message. I was actually with the president's newly sworn-in drug czar, the superb Sarah Carter, just yesterday in her offices. And the way ahead is very clear for all of these nations. Just look at the math. When I had my own show on Newsmax, I dedicated a whole episode to the horrific war the cartels have declared against America. In one 12-month period of Joe Biden's open border regime, more Americans died. 110,000 Americans were killed by the poisons the cartels are bringing into this country from those nations than died in 70 years of war as U.S. servicemen after 1945. Let me repeat that. From the end of hostilities in World War II, right up through Korea, Vietnam, Panama, Grenada, Gulf I, Gulf II, the GWAT in Afghanistan, 103,000 servicemen died in uniform. In 1 year of Biden's open border regime, more people, 110,000, were killed by the cartels. So what President Trump is doing, along with Secretary Hegseth, with Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller, with Governor Noem, is bringing the war to the cartels, and the countries of the region need to understand we will not permit them to host those entities.
You know, the numbers that you just put out, obviously alarming, but that's the messaging really that is important to all of this. This is about innocent Americans who are dying, the drug flow, the corrupt cartels, which obviously not just Colombia, but Venezuela as well, was spinning out of control. And I guess no one wanted to do anything for so long. And now we have a potential for Venezuela and Colombia to have a new path forward. So in tandem, when you look at, Petro's term is nearly up, Sebastian. Give us a little forecast, a tease ahead of what you think an ideal situation would be to have cooperation to make sure that this drug trade that was so emboldened and these brazen drug traffickers know that they can't get away with it.
I don't have to guess. I can tell you exactly the bright future that every nation should be thinking of right now. Why? Because I'm going to quote the president. Every one of your viewers right now can download the national security strategy that the president signed, an unclassified document just about Christmas time, and released to the world. And he said very, very clearly, this is the new Monroe Doctrine, or as the president joked about it, the Donroe Doctrine, which means what happens in our backyard is of immediate relevance to the safety of all Americans. We will not permit you to allow cartels to bring those poisons into America from your soil. With regards to Venezuela, we will not permit the likes of Iran, Hezbollah, Russia and China to use your territory to undermine the U.S. national interest. That's the tough message the president has sent. But also there's a positive one, and this is why we're having the meeting today with the president, with the vice president, with Senator Moreno, because if you wish to work with us, your nation can prosper alongside us. The president wants every nation to be secure and to prosper, but you've got to work with us.
He's even offered that olive branch to Iran, Seb. We've seen that. Of course, I want to turn to that because he's been pressed on what potential strikes may be, any military action. And here are his most recent comments. I'll play this and get your reaction on the flip side.
Right now, we're talking to them. We're talking to Iran. And if we can work something out, that'd be great. And if we can't, probably bad things would happen.
All right. There's a lot of unrest that we've seen here, weeks and weeks, Seb. We know that there's also the rhetoric coming from Khamenei, but there is potential as there's talks. What do you think is the realistic outcome of this? Because for so long, the regime has said one thing, done another. And it seems like after Operation Rising Lion, that really was the most significant move there to damage their nuclear stockpiles in decades and has led to a much more stable Middle East.
Well, that's the Israeli Operation Rising Lion. What we were involved in was the
Yeah.
Midnight Hammer, an absolutely textbook operation, you know, as impressive as absolute resolve with regards to Venezuela. Look, I'm not going to tell you what's realistic because the president, as he did during his campaign before he won the election, one of his best catchphrases near the end was, "Americans make the impossible look easy." And that is doubly so for the president. He even, to your point, he invited the Iranian regime to Sharm el-Sheikh. He said the door is open. If you want to work with us, then work with us. But if you don't, as that clip was very clear, woe betide you and we will come down on you like the hammers of hell, as we already did with Midnight Hammer. We want the people of Persia to be free. The Persians, the minorities, it's up to the regime right now whether they sit down with those incredible negotiators, the stunning work of Jared Kushner, of Steve Witkoff, or whether they take another path. If they take another path, the president has been very clear about the consequences, Bianca.
Indeed. All right, we watch and wait. In our final moment here, I'd like to ask you about the dark money that's sowing chaos in our country. CCP funded. There's a lot of questions. Congress has zeroed in on an American-born a billionaire, Neville Singham. He lives in China. So, you know, according to the Treasury Department, they want to freeze or seize his assets. You know, this isn't just happening in Minnesota. They may have done some money funneling over to the riots in LA last summer. This is obviously chaos agents on the ground here. We have to remember this all started because of billions of dollars in fraud in Minnesota, which is why this kind of story and the distraction that the CCP loves gets away with. What do you make of the possibility for real accountability for these groups that are doing this and sowing discord in our great nation, Seb?
100% accountability. I mean, I just look at the characters who are involved. Look at these individuals. Look at these patriots. It's the ultimate pincer movement. Here in the White House, you have Stephen Miller, the Homeland Security Advisor. Out on the ground, you have what? Tom Homan. As Elon Musk told me one day, he said, straight out of central casting. You want to deal with the anarchists on the ground, you want Tom Homan. And then it's like the triple encirclement. You've got Scott Bessent at Treasury, who's on the money trail of those. You don't have these coordinated assaults. You don't have these perfect synchronized actions, the signal chats we've all seen already of the anarchists on the ground. This is orchestrated. This is well funded. We've got Stephen here. We've got Tom on the ground. We've got Treasury right behind me, Scott Bessent with his threat finance team. They will get to the bottom of it, and they will find out who's been funding the destabilization of America on America's streets.
Sebastian Gorka, great to have you with us today, and I obviously await the readout from today's meeting happening right now. Thank you, sir.